Who can predict the future right now? It's very, very difficult to see. But we know there are things going on. There are huge conglomerates, extremely powerful people that have no respect for humanity. And they want to control humanity because they see an awful lot of problems, which are actually there. There's a problem of what to do with all the old people. It's a growing problem. There's a problem what to do with all the young people with nothing to do all day but look at a screen. It's a serious problem. Because all this consumption that's involved with that little screen, through Amazon and all that then consumes the from out of the planet itself. So it's a ever-growing loop that, to respect the planet, not just climate change itself, but to keep the ecology of the planet going, the idea is to consume less. Will be the first step. People who were into climate, saving the climate and all that, the first step they would be doing was consuming a lot less things from the planet. But there seems to be like a contradiction in ideas about we want everything, but we want to control the destiny of the planet. Well, you can't do that unless you control your own destiny, and this is where it gets down to. Because what the cabal and all these powerful people, they want to control humans by putting a digital signature in them, and this is what we can gather. So no offence made, it just happens to be what they want to do with people. Have a digital signature and they control you, and they're doing it in North Korea. We can see that. It's not hard to find that because you watch little pictures of North Korea or small videos of people getting on bus. They've got a little chip in their wrist, and you can read this in a book called The Perfect Day, which actually says, it actually described this many years ago. You read the book Perfect Day, gives you some idea what is actually in the cards, along with 1984 by George Orwell and things like that. They give you somehow what's in the cards, the basic architecture, or what's behind the push to digitalise the human population, or most of it, if they can. So I see another alternative, I'm into self-discipline. I'm into keeping myself as fit as I can so I don't become a burden on society, and trying to do what I can to keep myself occupied and busy in what I think are productive ways. It's just the way I am. Not everyone can be that way. It is going to be a choice. I think there should be a choice right now. When it comes to the cost of upkeep of healthcare, although billions of dollars and trillions of dollars made in making people sick through fluoride in the water or consuming too much takeaway food or processed foods and all that, probably consumption of that and not fresh whole foods is a sort of becoming a bigger killer of the human race than COVID would ever be. In the actual fact, everyone's scared of COVID. I'm actually scared of processed foods myself. So I want to propose to many tech gurus out there, who maybe no one will watch this. I think each house should have a machine that you check your health before you go out for the day. You check your health. This is an alternative. It's a voluntary thing, but you need to be. You check your health. It checks your pulse, checks your heart rate, it takes your breath, and it says, "This you need to do this to correct this disorders." That's what it needs to. So it's a contract between you and that, which is alternative to one where they're forcing you into controlling your life with a sort of a digital thing, which is with the vaccine is more like a digital thing than it is to stop immunity. This is a fact. It's not me being. I don't get into the politics of it or the ideology of it. I just know this as a fact because I've been studying evolution all of my life. So you get some insight from that, from what's going on. But I cannot totally disagree with how people may see, when you see people committing crime en masse and people bringing their children up with no moral guidance, or they turn out as extremely obese and all that. I'm not blaming anyone for it. I'm just saying this is conditioning over decades into behaving ways which is detrimental to the individual, and this is what it all gets down to. If you see yourself as an individual and not part of the whole society, although then if you see yourself as an individual and you act for yourself in a way that's responsible to yourself, you're actually benefiting society as a whole. So it's a contradictory term to what they've got now, where we're a social group. Well, I bet they're so lazy they can't look at a screen all day and don't do anything all day. But I think that's socialism, when all being the same. Well, that's a detrimental thing for good social outcomes. What true capitalism is, and it's true, capitalism is all about money. No, it's not. It's about equality of life, regardless of how much money you've got. This is what someone said, you'll be happy without anything. Well, basically, you can be very, very happy without much at all. And it's a very important thing. In fact, sometimes the less you have, the sort of happier you can be, because you've got less encumbrances upon your life. You don't have as much debt, and you don't have as much worry about the overheads of your cost of living. Well, that's not a bad thing, because your life's a bit easier then, and having to stress out about how you pay your next bills and all that. And I think there's a discussion missing in the world, at the top and in governments, about the approach to the cost of healthcare, which is an overburdened amount of people that are in society where they say there's no work for. And the only reason there's no work for those people is because the people, the corporations, are really greedy, and I don't understand, and they're not very creative, not as creative as they like to think now. They seem to be stuck in a regime, fixed in their mind. So if they can say that a thing called a social needs employment, and people work a 20 or 22-hour week, and at other times they look after their health and are doing something, it's not about, we have to take this move. Humans have got to take a move. What's positively progressive, rather than being regressive, progressively regressive. That's what it is. That's what has been happening. Because humans aren't healthier; they're getting sicker and unhealthier and less intelligent. It seems to me. They might be good at using the screens and all that, but seem to be not very wise. There's not much wisdom out there, and how to bring children up. Things like such a subject, but people are having abortions all the time and stuff like that, when all you got to do is don't be promiscuous, and then you're not risking having to abort an unborn child and create the tragedy for yourself and for that child. That's a great tragedy, I find, and the men who are causing that don't care, and it's a great tragedy. But there's a lack of care. Making love's a wonderful thing. There's nothing. This is not against making love, because that's a very beautiful thing, but it's got to be a bit more positive in its approach by taking responsibility for your actions, so you do not cause things like yourself to get pregnant or cause a pregnancy that then results in this a lady, being stressed for her life for having to terminate a pregnancy. I mean, it's a very sad thing. I find that extremely sad. I don't make a judgment on it. I just find it very sad. So I think there's a conversation. Either there's no leadership, or leaderships are afraid of having nice, easy conversations with people like this, or the cabal can't have these conversations because they don't want to come make an appearance because they're shy or sorry to fear because they're hiding, all in hiding or whatever. But they can't have this congenial conversation about how there may be other alternatives to control what we consume and go forward in the planet, so we end up with a better planetary system altogether, rather than this top-down, you will obey, or you will obey, you will obey, you will obey. Well, it sounds like a lot of fun, but it's showing a total lack of imagination by those people in charge.